Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar entitled, What's Next for PPC in 2018? This webinar is part of a special series of educational webinars to help you prepare for tomorrow. Please visit our website at teamlewis.com for recordings of previous webinars and to sign up for future sessions. My name is Sarah and I will be the moderator for today's event. Before we begin, I'd like to review a few housekeeping items regarding today's presentation. This is a live presentation through Zoom, so you may experience a slight delay as we click between slides. Our presentation will last approximately 30 minutes with some time for questions at the end. We'll have a recording of today's webinar available in a few days, and we'll send everyone an email with a link to the recording. All attendees will be automatically muted during today's event to cut down on any background noise, but we do welcome your questions. Please submit your questions via the Q&A button found at the top of your screen, and we will address as many as we can, time permitting. We will end the presentation with a question and answer session. Also, you can follow the conversation on Twitter by using hashtag IAT and by following us at Team Lewis Global. A little bit about Lewis and who we are. We're a global integrated communications agency, and we are the largest employee-owned agency in our sector. We provide full PR, marketing, and digital services with 30 offices across the globe. You can find out more by visiting us at teamlewis.com. Now I'd like to introduce you to today's speaker, Jennifer Lopez. First off, I'd like to say we are very fortunate to have a well-respected member of the digital marketing community on our biddable media team here at Lewis. Every year, this Search Engine Land holds the Landy Awards to recognize excellence in organic and paid search and gives out a very prestigious Search Marketer of the Year award. And last year, that award was given to Jennifer. Jennifer is a thought leader and digital marketing expert with experience across many biddable media channels, including paid search, shopping, comparison engines, and more. As Global Director of Biddable Media at Lewis, Jennifer heads up both the biddable and SEO departments. Recently named Search Marketer of the Year by Search Engine Land and UCF 30 Under 30 winner, Jennifer has experience managing numerous B2C and B2B domestic and international brands. As you can see, here are some of the brands she's helped succeed. Most notably, Jennifer has actually run paid search for B2B brands for Google, who, as we know, is the leader in paid and organic search. You can also catch Jennifer lending her expertise by contributing content to leading industry sites and blogs. With that, I will pass the presentation over to Jennifer.
All right, thank you so much, Sarah. So happy to be here today. We have lots of great information, so let's just dive right in. First, just walking through a quick agenda, we are going to go through what's next for PPC in 2018. Starting with voice search and some of our top predictions, how mobile is growing, and I know everyone always says it's the year of mobile, so we will give you a different take, I promise. Next, we will dive into some of the expanded targeting that's been offered in Google AdWords, and from there we will get our take on the new AdWords interface, plus leave some time for QA as well. So to get the most out of this webinar, I'd like to walk through a few things. You either are a PPC or marketing professional and you have moderate to advanced knowledge of AdWords, plus you love staying ahead of the curve and are willing to explore and test in some uncharted territory. Some of the things we'll be going through today, there's not exactly an exact measurement for, so a lot of what we do does rely on gut instinct. So being comfortable in that space, you'll definitely be able to get a lot out of this webinar. And then lastly, you should like my quirks. We'll get into a few, I'm sure. So for those of you that know me and signed on, I definitely appreciate it. For you that don't, enjoy. So the first thing I want to go through is the increases that we've seen to voice assistance, voice technology, and then voice search. Speaking of quirks, the first thing I wrote here, I actually can't say because the entire room I'm in runs off of the top AI voice assistant right now. So that will just be called Thou Who Shall Not Be Named. If I say it, literally lights will start flashing. I'll get judgments on my presentation from her, everything. So some of the top voice assistants that we see is that one, as well as Google Home, Google Mini and Max, Apple Siri, Microsoft Cortana, as well as the Apple HomePod, which is yet to be released, but was most recently shown off at CES. So what can these voice assistants do for us? Well, first, they understand natural language voice commands and questions. Like I said, they can turn your lights on and off, turn your AC on and off, change the temperature. It all really depends on what inputs we connect to that voice assistant and what they can control. Next, they can provide search results, whether they are spoken results or visual results on various screens. So Siri has a screen, Cortana has a screen, Thou Who Shall Not Be Named just came out with a new product that has a screen. So when people are searching for things, results can show up on that screen, or the voice assistant can provide verbal answers as well. And then, like I mentioned, these voice assistants can control household devices. They can track your shipments, let you know if flights are on time, help you order groceries, which I'm a huge fan of, and more. So definitely really cool piece of technology and growing. So we provided here just some crazy stats. 40% of adults now use voice search 1 time per day. 60% of the people using that voice search started in the last year, and 41% started in the last 6 months. So just crazy growth. 1 in 2 are using that voice technology in their smartphone, and 1 in 3 of those voice technology users do use it daily. So when we look at voice search for people who are in the paid search space, there's a lot of complications. So first, for PPC professionals, we can't yet get reporting on voice search in the AdWords interface, whether we're looking at the new interface or the old one. We aren't really told how the search is executed. So without reporting on which keywords are triggered by voice searchers, we're relying on gut instinct a lot. We're sharing and learning through active dialogue in our community, making education key. So one trick, for example, is when I'm going through search query reports, if I type in, "Okay, Google," that usually does get kind of put into the search query, where, for example, the other voice assistant who shall not be named, that query doesn't really come through on the results, because that happens before the search is executed. So searching your search query reports for "Okay, Google," you can guess that a lot of those searches are voice searches, but AdWords at this point in time just doesn't have a report that tells us whether these were manually typed or voice searches. So some of our predictions for voice search. So first, marketers are going to spend more time reviewing how their brand appears when a voice search is executed. So right now we do use the ad preview tool. We'll Google things occasionally to see how search ads look. More marketers are going to spend time talking to their phones, talking to voice assistants. So it's important that brands and advertisers are giving their PPC professionals the availability to have this technology so that they can see and review how the brand is showing across different voice searches and platforms. Next, marketers will add longer tail natural language keywords to their PPC account and landing pages in hopes of capturing voice searches. So a fun exercise for any brand is to pretend you're talking to your voice assistant and see how your natural language to your voice assistant is different than what you might type in. So it tends to be longer. Best advice here is, before adding a bunch of long tail keywords to your account, is just review your account and make sure that you have the right match types in place that allow you for keyword mining. My favorite is BMM, broad match modified, for keyword mining. If you have those in your account, chances are you're going to be able to pick up a lot of these longer tail queries and searches, and don't have to necessarily do a whole big build for them. Just watch them as they show up in your search query reports. Number 3, many advanced PPC pros will come up with ways to test voice search in PPC. So I wanted to include this Moz article. It's by Perna. When we download the presentation, you guys will be able to check it out. But she is over at Microsoft and does a lot of work with AI and has found some cool ways to kind of test voice search in Bing. So definitely take a look at that. And number 4, marketers will build on-site content to focus on top-of-funnel questions, since they are common in voice search. So content is really key here. Voice searches tend to be much more broad than typed searches. So having really high-level content that our voice assistants can use as answers back to us is going to be key for PPC professionals. And then number 5, I do predict that voice search reporting will be integrated into AdWords or some third-party platforms over time. So hoping that we see that integrate quickly so that we can learn from it, get data, and build out better accounts. All right, so moving on from voice search to mobile, I hope you guys enjoy my fun emoji here. How many times have we heard that it's the year of mobile? I know. But there are a few things that are different, so wanted to call those out. In 2016, Google introduced AMP pages, which are accelerated mobile pages, which load a lot faster on mobile for advertisers' content. But they're now offering advertisers help on building out those AMP pages. So for many of my paid search accounts, even ones that aren't huge spenders, our reps have been asking us, do we need help with AMP? How can we connect our client's web dev team to Google's web dev team? They're doing lots of seminars on it. So if you're interested in a better mobile experience and getting those AMP pages live, reach out to your Google reps. They can definitely help you. Next is, as traffic continues to shift over to mobile, we do see more mobile ad types that are popping up in search. There's the Google Maps ads. There's local inventory ads now, which allow people to advertise where they can find their products at different brick and mortar partner stores, as opposed to just buying online, so pushing traffic to in-store that way. There's click-to-call ads here, which you can see in the top right, which the only option is for a user to call. So you don't actually visit a site. Anywhere that ad is clicked, it's a direct call. So with all these new ad formats, definitely something that we're going to want to try out for 2018. So predictions. Number 1, advertisers are going to see increased mobile traffic in 2018 as predicted, right? But most will also see those engagements on mobile wane unless they're focused on optimizing their mobile experience on site. So while you're going to see more mobile traffic, you're going to see less engagement unless you're actively making it a priority for your business. Number 2, smart marketers will test more ad formats on mobile and have the benefit of getting cheaper CPCs, solidifying positions, and being first. So anytime Google rolls out a new ad format, get in there and test it, use it first. Chances are you can get cheaper CPCs than competitors. You can rank higher. So get in there quick. Try to be first. That's really going to help scale your business when you can get cheaper CPCs and be more efficient. So moving on to number 3. PPC pros will need to explain and re-explain the role of mobile throughout a user's online and potentially offline journey. So over the last few years, people agency side, in-house side, explaining the role of mobile to the heads of your business has always been really, really tricky because it's something that we're seeing tons and tons of traffic on mobile, but how is it translating to engagement? So, Google's offered us a number of products. There's different attribution solutions. There's a great presentation. If you just, after this, Google micro moments, you'll learn a little bit about the role of mobile. So making sure that all of your clients or all the stakeholders in your business understand what the role of mobile is for their specific business, whether it's driving traffic in store or something else. It's going to be really important that we as marketers can explain that and can show its value. Number 4, Google AdWords will continue to work on estimating cross-device conversions and in-store visits. So this is something that we are seeing already. This is something Google is going to continue to do so that we can continue to prove out the value of mobile. And then number 5, agency and in-house teams will integrate better to unlock mobile's potential. So we're going to see lots of integration between SEO teams, PPC teams, social teams, web dev teams. If all of your teams are already integrated and talking, that is an absolutely great sign. But there are still lots of businesses where these are very siloed. So bringing those people together, especially to figure out mobile, is going to be so important. I go to lots of these award shows, one of which is the Landies, which I absolutely love. I expect a lot of the 2018 winners to be integrated teams rather than just seeing PPC and SEO professionals at the table, I expect to see web people, social people, anyone who's really looking at that mobile experience across the board and helping marketers figure out how to unlock that. So next is expanded and more precise targeting in AdWords. So in order to review this, I kind of wanted to take a look back at 2017 and then move into what we're seeing in 2018. So in 2017, we saw Google emulate a lot of other publishers who offer CRM targeting when they launched their customer match product. So customer match lists are available for either targeting or excluding in search, Gmail, and YouTube, and they're email based. I've probably asked our reps like 1,000 times if they can be used in GDN. That cannot yet happen. So that's why I outlined search, Gmail, and YouTube. You can use these customer match lists. So how that works is you just upload a list of emails. Google tries to match those emails back to Google accounts. Doesn't necessarily have to be Gmail accounts, but Google accounts. And then we can add that data or overlay that data on our search campaigns or our Gmail campaigns or YouTube campaigns to better target. So that rolled out in 2017 has been really instrumental in driving a lot of our accounts forward. Next is the audience section of AdWords, and this is specifically talking about the new interface. So in the new interface, they did revamp the whole audiences section in 2017. You can now more easily see your bid adjustments against age, gender, parental status, and household income. Also, someone finally put household income targeting in its rightful place, which makes me just so happy to not have to go into locations in order to change household income targeting. So that was a huge step towards adding a lot more transparency to the different audiences and kind of organizing that in a better format where advertisers can more readily use that data. So in 2018, so what's happening that's different with the targeting? So first, Google is rolling out customer match for addresses, not just email addresses. This is great for businesses or clients that are doing direct marketing or direct mail. It is really great for those advertisers who have historically been very traditional and are kind of just moving over to digital. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, we start from scratch. Not really. You have lots of data that we can upload. We can target those people. So along with the addresses that we can now target, it's also rumored that customer match will roll out to display on GDN. So we really hope to see that because that just gives us a much bigger pool of impressions to target against. Also in 2018, Google is borrowing tools they've had for years in the display side of the house and allowing us to use those tools in search. So an example of that is GDN has always had, well, not always had, the last few years, has had in-market audiences. So people who are, and it can be very specific, right? People who are in the market for a car, you can get down to the model of the car that they're looking for and target against those shoppers. You can now use that same technology for search, which is very cool. So you would overlay that in-market audience over your search campaigns. Now you can use it for bid adjustments. You can use it as a specific side target. However you want to do that. But seeing Google borrow technology from their different networks and apply to search is really awesome. And then following Facebook's lead, Google also in 2018 is launching life event targeting, which is going to roll out first to YouTube and Gmail ads. So life event targeting, oh my gosh, I'm engaged, right? I'm pregnant. I am pregnant, actually. So very cool to have life event targeting now available in Google. So let's dive into the predictions. Number one, marketing professionals will begin testing new targeting types in their AdWords accounts in order to find either efficiencies or new prospects. So this is kind of a no-brainer. Now that Google's allowing us to do all the things, we're going to do all the things. Number two here, though, smart marketers. See how I did that? I'm like marketers and smart marketers. Smart marketers who find success with those certain audiences are also going to work on tailoring messages, discounts, and offers specifically for those audiences. So this is a bit cautionary here. It's really easy to sit down and come up with a whole strategy of how you're going to use all of this customer match data, build all these lists and send specific messages just to these people on these lists. It's really easy to get carried away with a grand plan. I would recommend baby steps. So First, upload your list, see your match rate. Then start running it. Run it with, maybe some of your current search terms. Maybe you're going to need broader search terms because that audience is a little bit too small. That's just the middle of your Venn diagram there, right? So maybe that's going to need to be a bigger audience for you. First, work on getting some volume behind those audiences and seeing how they perform before you start tweaking messaging just for that audience. It'll save you some time in the long run. It'll allow you to come up with a plan where you can really build upon it. So that's my cautionary tale for today. Number 3, many marketers will see increasing CPCs as they accidentally bid stack against too many audience types. So this is something that happens all the time. Now that it's a little bit more transparent, I'm hoping we can avoid it as much as possible. But advertisers are going to look in their accounts and they're going to say, gee, why are my CPCs so high? I have no idea what's going on. And what they're going to have to do is take a look in those audience sections and look at what they've done, right? As we get all excited, right? We're going to bid, well, this person, we're going to bid 20% extra if it's a female versus a male. And if they're a parent, we're going to bid 30% extra. And if they're, within a 15-mile radius, we're going to bid 40%. And it just keeps going. All those bids are stacking on each other. So if you're starting to see really high CPCs, yes, you can cite competition, right? You can look into your auction insights and review that, but also take a look at your bid stacks and your bid adjustments and make sure that you weren't getting a little bit carried away, stacking too many bids. All right, moving into number 4, Google AdWords will continue to release new targeting options, trying to hold their ground against Facebook and LinkedIn options. Facebook, the life events targeting, you saw that trend. LinkedIn, a lot of the jobs and things that we're interested in from a business perspective, Google's going to be trying to tie in more of that data as well. All right, now that we covered so many predictions, but we need a lot. We got a lot to work with. The next thing I want to move into is just our take on the new AdWords interface, not just because everyone has one, but because, I've been to so many conferences lately. I was recently at SMX, where I am hearing so much about this new interface. So many people have been really hesitant to switch over. Picture here on the left so you can see what it looks like. So what are some of the challenges with the new interface? Well, first is there are lots of template reports and custom columns that we all have set up in the old interface that when you move over to the new one, they don't exist. So they're going to need to be rebuilt entirely, and that is not a fun time. Especially for us, we have tons and tons of clients, and we have very precise, specific reporting for each of them. We have tons of people on the Biddable team who like to review data in different ways. And so what we're going to want to do is make sure that we transition all of that over to the new interface, set those up the way we want them to be before the old interface is completely gone and doesn't exist anymore. So that's a frustration for lots of PPC professionals. I've heard it a lot among marketers. And while the new AdWords interface does claim to be 20% faster than the old one, we have seen lots of people cite bugs, crashes, longer than average load times. So there has been a little bit of a struggle with that new interface, particularly for people who run massive, massive accounts. And we do have a lot of really big ones where we have seen that load time take a while. So definitely recommend, while we're in transition, make sure that you're using Editor a lot and, working on things that, are a little bit easier for bulk uploads. If you use an ad server, a bulk upload might work faster there than in the new interface. But, oh, emoji time. However, with the struggle of the new AdWords interface, there are also so many cool features. So I am going to recommend that we tough it out and start exploring. So just walking through some of those features, and there are a bunch, but these are just a few that are not available in the old interface. So first is bid adjustments on call extensions. So we're used to bid adjusting on audiences, right? You can bid adjust age and gender, and that's great, but we've never been able to bid adjust on call extensions before or on any type of extensions. We can't say, hey, show this site link extension more than this one. Maybe that's where we're headed, but for now, we can bid adjust on call extensions, which is great for advertisers who aren't necessarily splitting out by device and using click to call. we can add a modifier there. So in the last presentation I was in where Google was reviewing this, they did recommend, big bid adjustments. We're talking like plus 20%, plus 50%, plus 5. We've tested in some of our accounts and it doesn't really cause enough movement. So you need to kind of push up that bid significantly. But again, remember, this is a bid stack, right? And this is not going to be in your audience section. So it will be something you do have to check to make sure that you're not bid stacking too many bids and pushing up your CPCs too high. Next are promotion extensions. So for any advertiser that is like going crazy during Q4 and is just like, promoting all the things, Cyber Monday, Black Friday, the last 2 years, we've had something called promotion extensions available. And a lot of marketers out there have been using them. They were a little price tag icon that kind of was at the bottom of your ad, just like any other extension. But it would say, Cyber Monday, 50% off headphones or whatever it might be. Now, those promotion extensions you can use anytime, as opposed to before it was just for Q4. They would only pop up in the interface around Q4 for Cyber Monday, for Black Friday, and then maybe a few holiday sales. Now those promotion extensions can be used year long. The only thing I would definitely check is what qualifies as a promotion. So most of the stuff here was discounts, percent off type things. There was not an availability in there to say like free shipping, like that didn't qualify as a promo, or I'd love to see gift with purchase. We have lots of clients that do awesome gift with purchase promos. So I'd like to see that added as an option. I don't think that's available just yet, but promotion extensions, make sure that if you have promotions going on, you are using them because your competitors will be. Next is bid adjustments on parental status for search. So I mentioned bid adjustments a lot on different audiences. Parental status before, we used to just be able to monitor, but not bid adjust against. So you can see there's lots of places where this makes sense. If you're a school, for example, and someone's a parent, maybe you want to bid a little bit higher to rank higher in front of a parent as opposed to maybe a student who, is just looking for a login portal or something. There's a lot you can do with audiences there. But another reason why I like this is for holidays. So for holidays, I feel like sometimes people forget that it's the parents who are buying all these big ticket items for the kids. So getting up there in your rankings in front of people who have kids and parents will be really interesting. Right now, I believe parental status is just yes or no. They're not yet breaking it down into like age of children or anything that's that complex yet, but could definitely go there. And then the last favorite that I have is just the highlight bars and heat maps for reporting. Here at Lewis, we do use a lot of data visualization tools to better see a lot of the more complex data that comes out of our accounts. And it's just nice to see that AdWords is, adding in some of this more visual stuff. You can see day and hour chart here that's, kind of a heat map of, when I'm spending the most money. Down below it on the left under devices, this is just highlight bars for reporting. Just makes things, kind of fun. You can also export these and share with clients. So, if you, need to pull a quick report for a business stakeholder, you can absolutely just go in there and kind of toggle some of the new reporting stuff and play around there. All right, so I think that wraps it up. So to conclude, we talked a lot about 2017, a lot of the targeting that we saw, everything that's going on for 2018. We gave a lot of predictions. That was probably more predictions than most. So we definitely gave you a lot today, as well as our take on the new AdWords interface. And though I can't hear anyone, I assume we all had a great time. There was probably cheers and applause. It was great spending some time with you today. So now I'm going to pass it back over to Sarah for Q&A.
Great. Thanks, Jennifer. Thank you for an informative session. We'll take time for some questions now. Just a reminder, if you haven't done so already, please be sure to submit your questions by clicking the Q&A button found at the top of your screen. It looks like we have a couple questions, so we can just get started. First question here. Should I even bother with other search engines, or should I just keep with Google?
Oh, that one we hear a lot. So my recommendation, is to always maximize Google first, learn what's working there, and then expand that over to other engines and platforms. There are other valuable ones, of course, but a nice way to kind of inch into it also is to maybe only duplicate your top performers from Google and other engines. You can just get so much learning out of Google because of the scale. So, my preference is maximize there first.
Great, thank you. Next question here. Is AdWords only good for lower end of the funnel conversion goals, or can it be used for awareness as well?
Oh, good question. So it can be used for both. It really depends on how you want to use it and making sure that everything's connected. But, there are so many ad and campaign and network types. There's search, shopping, GDN, YouTube. Think of all of the, higher impact stuff there. Your display ads, your video is more kind of upper funnel awareness building. It's not always the case, but it's a good guideline. Whereas the more intent-based stuff is usually lower funnel, so search driven is typical, but those lines are really starting to blur though, especially with voice search. Like we discussed, queries are even becoming more general. So now you can have search ads that are more awareness drivers also on the generic side of the house. So it can be used for everything. It all depends on how you want to activate it.
Great, thank you. Next question here. How is paid search marketing affected by the rise of Amazon?
Oh, okay. Well, the answer to that one is kind of twofold, right? There's two sides to the coin here. So Amazon in itself is considered a search engine, right? So many people search there for products before they even go to Google now. I do that sometimes myself, depending on what I'm looking for. So I would recommend that retailers be present on Amazon with headline ads, sponsored product ads, particularly if they're selling products through the platform. It's important that they have a presence there from a PPC perspective. So outside of that, though, outside of recommending that our clients advertise within Amazon, we've also seen Amazon bid on our clients' products and services on other channels, like in AdWords and Bing. So that can cause a little bit of a problem, right? Amazon is, just by default, bigger budgets than, anyone, right? And so when they're running ads on our clients' products and services, that can push up our CPCs. They also can offer our products at a discount, right? So still having a partner show on a branded search is better than a competitor. So if you're typing in, something specific, having your website and then Amazon right under, it's not the worst thing because, a user still gets both options are to buy a product where the, revenue ultimately goes to you. But it can push up CPCs. So just understanding and navigating those challenges has been really important, and it's been the key to a lot of conversations that we've had with clients recently about, Amazon's role in the search space. So good question.
Okay, I've got one question here. What percentage of your budget do you think is appropriate for keyword mining via broad match modified keywords?
That's a really good question. I don't know, I hate to be depends, but I think it does depend, right, on how far you're going with exact match. So when I run them, I like to run exact and then broad match modified together. So if exact is really carrying you and pushing you through, I like to put budget there. You're going to get cheaper CPCs on the exact side of the house, but keyword mining is so important because every day Google sees, it's some crazy number, I don't know it off the top of my head, but every day Google sees a crazy amount of searches that have never been searched before. So if you're only bidding on exact match, you're really missing out because people are changing the way they search every day, and especially with voice search. So broad match, I would like to see a hefty portion, but it also depends on an advertiser's willingness to want to test and try new things. So rather than give you a percentage, I'm going to say the best way to do it is being able to balance your exact and BMM budget against the revenue you're making so that you're hitting your ROAS goals. So if you're hitting your ROAS goals and you can be doing that, spending 50% of your budget on BMM, go ahead and do that. But make sure that you're getting value out of it by looking at the search query reports, doing the keyword mining, and then re-adding them to your account on exact match. So as your keyword mining improves on the exact match side, you should be continuing to build out. So they should kind of both be growing at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. And last question here. Should I prioritize paid search over SEO?
Well, okay, so that's another, I hate the depends, but it depends on your goals and timeline, but I will tell you why. Paid search is best to launch for those immediate results, right? The ability to get something up and live right away. Also for people who want to quickly change out their ad copy and messages, like if you're going to run a sale or promotion, you need an ad to talk about it right now. PPC, paid search is the way to go. SEO is great for long-term growth. And in a way, SEO is like also able to help your paid search run better. So in a perfect world, though, you'll want to do both. So to maximize your real estate on the SERPs or the search engine results pages, having a presence in both places, both paid and then right underneath it, having your organic listing is going to be key, right? Because you're trying to just take up more space than your competitors and kind of push them down. So if you're limited on budget, it doesn't have to be either or. Something that we have done here for many clients is while we're maximizing their SEO efforts on different keywords, places that maybe we're not seeing the rankings we'd like, we can fill in the gaps for you by running paid search against those keywords where you might not rank organically yet. So people who are limited budget and say they can't do both, you just need an agency that can do it in a really sophisticated way, right? So get the rankings on one side and then pay for them on the other side to kind of make up that holistic approach in search.
Right. Okay. We have a few more questions. Jen, do you feel comfortable answering just a few more live?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Here's a question. What are your thoughts about turning on and off remarketing campaigns? Do you find that the potential to overload prospects exists, and instead of a constant presence, that an on-off approach could help correct this?
So I want to make sure that I understand the question entirely, but my assumption here is that you would be turning remarketing on and off as to not overload your prospect with too much messaging. If that's the intention in AdWords, if you're using AdWords specifically, though other platforms will do it as well, you can frequency cap. So you can say, I don't, this person's been in my funnel, I don't want to show them more than this many ads for this many days. So if that's the intention there, I wouldn't necessarily turn it on and off, but I would say check out your settings, look at frequency caps, and try to limit that way, because you don't want to be just pushing messaging to users over and over again without something happening. So look into those frequency caps for sure.
Okay, and then I've got another question here. Have you found success with PLA campaigns? And if so, what are your suggestions for optimizing those kinds of campaigns?
Sure. So PLA campaigns, those are product listing ads. In Google now, they've changed their name to shopping campaigns. And yes, we see a lot of success with them, especially for our e-com clients with anywhere from 20 to products to we've run, shopping campaigns with over 8,000 SKUs. So yes, we've seen success there. Some recommendations that I have is, shopping campaigns are tricky to optimize because they don't run like search. We're not putting in keywords and bidding against keywords. What's happening is a user is typing in a search query and that is matching to a shopping feed. And that feed, which is uploaded into our system, Google is doing all of the matching. So we don't really have a say in that. So the way we do have a say is instead of by using keywords as targeting, we can use keywords to exclude. So running through shopping campaigns, a great optimization is just look at all of the searches that are coming in, search query report or search terms report, it's called. You can run through and just start negating things that are like, got it wrong, Google. That is not what I want to be showing up for. So negating is one way to optimize. If you find that you are just adding tons and tons of negatives, and why am I matching to so many things that aren't relevant? The next thing you're going to want to do is actually look at your shopping feed and look at the product names, look at the descriptions, and see how you can write better descriptions that might be more indicative of what you want to show up for. That's going to be key to optimizing your shopping campaigns. And it's a little tricky because you do that in a different interface, right? So you actually review your shopping feeds in like Google Merchant Center, and typically people are using even another platform to be able to tweak those feeds and upload them to Google Merchant Center. So what's hard is it's hard to be optimizing things that are outside of AdWords for PPC professionals, because they're like, oh, I guess I need this platform now or that platform. But shopping campaigns, another recommendation that I've seen happen is when people kind of split out different campaign types for different types of products. So maybe your top products are in one campaign, and that you give a ton of budget to, where your products that maybe don't sell as well but you want to have a presence on are in another campaign with less budget. So just by budget shifting alone, you can allow enough budget to push those products that bring in revenue for you and limit those that don't. So that's just another strategy there, but I've seen people do the same thing, kind of trying to have brand and generic shopping campaigns. So lots of options there. If you want to shoot me an email, I'd be happy to give some more recommendations.
Great. Thanks so much, Jennifer. I think we've had some really good questions come in, but that's, I think we'll have to wrap it up now. It's all the time we have for today. But if we didn't get to your questions, we'll be sure to follow up with you individually. On this screen here, Jen, if you can click over, we have Jennifer's contact info right here. You can feel free to reach out to her at any time with any specific questions you might have. We also have a few more webinars coming up in the series. To learn more, please visit our events page on our website at teamlewis.com. Thank you all very much for joining today's session. As mentioned at the start of the webinar, we will send everyone an email with a link to the recording and the slides of today's presentation. Thanks again for joining us today, and we hope to see you next time.